you are um, an expert of happiness, and we are going to talk about happiness, how to be a happy person, what is happiness, and we will discuss about this topic from different perspectives, like European, maybe Western, and Eastern also. And what is the most important is the Eastern um, perspective, point of view, what happiness is. Yeah, for like Pakistani girl and for people from uh, this your region. Okay, Stan is yours.
Okay, so first of all, hello to everyone who is watching this or who is going to watch this. Thank you for tolerating me for such a long time. So when
You,
I talk about happiness,
it's not about a tolerance. You are an interesting person, and you have to say a, a lot to people, the whole world, about values and the common values, and that's is important. You are, I guess, you are a light worker, yeah.
yeah, no, I was just joking about it. But yeah, so first of all, I think people need to understand that happiness is a relative concept. It's like success, joy, and the most important thing to understand here is that it differs from one person to another. And I think that's where a lot of people make mistakes because they start comparing their lives with others and they think that's happiness or that's success, which is not true. For finding what makes you happy, you need to connect to your inner self. You need to explore yourself. And again, this is something that not a lot of people try. I would say it's because of the cultural, the social, or the religious pressures. People are often not encouraged to think outside the box. Similarly, like it happens with, for example, professions all the time. From a very young age, for example, in Pakistan, I think even when a kid is like 3 or 4 years old, the parents and the society will just start telling, he's going to be an engineer, and if it's a she's going to be a doctor. And those kids automatically assume that this is what success or happiness is for them. It's just like one aspect of happiness, for example. So they never really even have a chance to explore what they want to be, who they want to be, what kind of life they want to proceed. So I think that, as I said in the beginning, is the most important thing to understand here. That connect with yourself, try to do different activities, and keep trying it until you find one that really brings you peace. And for me, like peace and happiness are somewhat like very similar. I don't think that you can be happy if you're not at peace inside yourself. So once you find your peace, then I think you will find your happiness.
And vice versa.
And vice versa. If you're happy, you will also find your peace. If you're not happy, also you won't be peaceful. And for myself, I also did the same. I try to pursue the things that I would say that I had in mind when I was still a child, because at that time there was no social media. I remember even as a kid, I would, for example, take these diaries, like these journal diaries. They have like the world map often in the beginning or at the end of the book. And for me, that was like entertainment. I could stare at those maps for hours, to be honest, even as a kid. And this, I would memorize the capitals of different countries and just dream of traveling one day. So when I talk about my dream of traveling, that it brings me joy, it's not because I saw someone on social media posting a nice picture somewhere.
Mhm.
It goes back into my childhood, and that's how I want that this is probably something I want to pursue. The same went when I was when I was in the high school and I had to make a choice of what I want to study. I thought that I thought that I would be a good engineer because I was good in physics and mathematics. And I remember one day we were in the laboratory doing some physics experiments, like in our country, a portion of our exams has to be practical, like 10 or 20% of the grades they come from the practical experiments that you do at the laboratory. And at that time, when I was doing those practicals, I was, I think, already like 15 probably. And at that moment, I realized, like, do I want to do this? Like, I am never fascinated by machines or, tools or electric tools. I was good in physics concepts, so like I would often score like a perfect score in math or physics, and that's how I assumed that this is what I like.
Theory.
Yeah, like I was good in concepts. I That moment I realized that even I can do it, but this is not something I want to do. And again, I just thought, like, what was the thing that I used to like as a hobby or in my childhood? And I really liked Monopoly as a child. I would always love to be the banker who is dealing with money. And I would love to play strategic games like Age of Empires, Rise of Nations. And I was always like good with money, with budgeting, and like with saving money. And
So for you, money is a happiness.
no, I'm coming to that. Not money, but I realized that it's something related to business that I want to do. And that's how I ended up in university. Again, in the beginning, I thought I wanted to be an accountant because I was good, as I said, like I was good with calculations and numbers. But then after some point, I asked, like, do I want to sit in an office and do accounting and deal with files all day? And again, the answer came no. I am more like, at some points, even though I'm an introvert, I do like to interact with people. I want to be in a position where I can travel once in a while, and accountants usually don't do that. So again, the answer was no. And then during my second or third year of university, I thought that I'm really interested in marketing, and I thought to pursue digital marketing seriously. I took a lot of courses on search engine optimization and SCM and everything. What is the Alexa rank? What is the domain authority? What is a trust flow? I like did all those things, and then I came here and I started working in a PR and digital marketing agency. And again, I realized that there is something missing there. It's not something I like because there are certain things in marketing that doesn't really resonate with me. And now I will quit it soon too. So again, like, I know in certain aspects of life, I know what my happiness is. Like, I know traveling makes me happy, but when it comes to my career, I have to still like find it. And I am not giving it up because of society, because a lot of people maybe think that now is the time I should take like a job and stick to it and not, just keep hopping from one place to another. But for me, that's not happiness. That's not the right path. For me, it doesn't matter what age. Maybe I find my true career after 30, after 40. It doesn't matter, as long as
After 50.
after
Who
50, maybe
knows?
after I die. But yeah, like, so this is something that I also want to encourage people to follow. Like, don't settle on something that
To seek,
society.
to seek, to seek.
Exactly.
Not to find, but
Yeah.
not to yield. Yeah?
Yeah, to seek happiness and not just, set up on something just because the society expects you to do, just because you're, I don't know, because
Circumstances.
circumstances, because we live in a society where success and happiness is measured by very weird standards. Like, maybe if you have a car, people would think that you are, doing well in life. They won't care what's happening here. So what's happened here and here, like in your soul, heart, and mind, that is the most important thing. So yeah, I think that's it. And
Yeah.
again, I think it doesn't matter where you come from, like whether you come from east or west. I think it's kind of like a universal concept. It might be true that in certain societies you have more pressure, like I was telling, like in Pakistan, right after you are born, you have this pressure to be either a doctor, an engineer, or be like a CSS officer, or like an army officer. And maybe in West, it's more relaxed. People pursue art too. But I think when it comes to like the core concept of happiness and being connecting to with yourself, that remains same everywhere.
What is happiness?
Happiness is like, it's a state of mind or your soul. Again, I would say, where you feel at peace, where you are satisfied, where you are not like, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have, like, you are satisfied with what you have, and you are looking forward to your future, like with hope and happiness that things will go even better. So it's, for me, it's more like being at peace and being satisfied, and not, feeling that there are like so many things missing in your life. It's when you feel like complete, or you feel as a whole.
Mm.
Mm.
What makes you unhappy
Hmm.
now? Maybe um,
Um.
not. o- Okay, in the past,
Mhm.
now, and now. What what did make you unhappy
In the
in,
past.
in the past, and what makes you happy now?
I think in the past, like, okay, when I was still like not really developed my brain, I would just maybe get unhappy if somebody scolded me, which was very rare. Like, I didn't get a lot of scolding as a child. Or maybe if I scored less in exams because I was like kind of a nerd and really into, studies. So sometimes not doing well in exams would make me unhappy. But with time, I realized that those are very tiny things. And now, what makes me unhappy is, I would instead maybe prefer to use the word disappointing, but it's similar to unhappiness. Like, I get unhappy when I see people who have a lot of potential but they are not using it, people who are not questioning things, who are not using their brains. And like on a personal level, like if I talk about people who are like my friends or acquaintances, I don't like when someone pressurizes me to do something, because as I said, I like to go with my own flow. I ask people opinions, but I don't like when they're like, you should do this, or no, just let me find my things myself.
What did they say to do?
For example, you were telling me that I should be brave
Mm,
a while ago. It's okay. It's
uh-huh.
just something that I feel like I want to find these things myself. Because I consider myself a person who is open to different opinions. I'm just giving as like, this is something that just happened now. So this is just a small example when people really try to push me, or if I don't know, if I, for example, let's say I found a particular job and people keep telling me, no, this is not good for you, this is not good for you. I want to try it and then see for myself if it's good or bad for me. So it's just example that I don't like when people try to impose their thoughts on me. I think there is a difference between sharing your opinion, and there is a difference when you
Command.
try to, yeah, come on. So I don't like when people try to portray that what they think is the right and what you are thinking is wrong. That kind of bothers me, but I won't say that makes me unhappy. It's like a small thing. Yeah, I won't say that it necessarily makes me unhappy. Mm, I think, yeah, what makes me unhappy, or also the news when I see, because I'm follow news kind of actively, and often there are a lot of bad news.
There's,
Oftentimes there are more bad news than good news. So
there's
then,
just still time, still your time.
I no, I'm
Mass
not talking
media
about political news. I'm talking about like social news. Those things are actually happening.
also, it's also still time.
So you're saying that you should not see them?
Absolutely.
No, I think
And
you should see them
80,
and be more mindful of what, it's again, it's my opinion.
yes.
So I think you should know what's happening around you. Of course,
Why?
it's good
Why do you need to know it?
because I feel that I come from a family of certain privileges. For example, like there are kids in our country who are begging at the roads, and I don't want to become a person who is, like just put a curtain on the eyes and just completely ignores what happens.
What
And I
what
also,
can you do to change this situation to help them?
it depends. Sometimes you can help them financially. If
What
you're,
can you do? What do you do to help them?
if I am financially able, I try to help people financially at times. And yeah, like for example, there are certain times I have volunteered as an English teacher for underprivileged kids because they cannot pay for of course, education. And not only myself, there were other international volunteers who would go and teach them. It's just one way to empower them and introduce them to education, which is like their basic right. And also, I like to see these kind of, not, I won't say I like to see these, it's just happening. It's like a fact. It's not that I choose to see them, it's happening around me whether I see it or not, because I think they increase empathy in me. And for me, it's really important for myself because I want to stay like a humble, blessed person. And as I said, like I want to be mindful of what my privileges are and what a lot of people don't have access to. And if you, I think you never see them, you kind of are unable to understand them. And it's like you are just following your path in life, which is again not wrong. But as I said, like my idea or my philosophy of life revolves around leading a meaningful life. And for me, it's important that, yeah, if even if I can't do anything, at least I can send them a wish, I can say them a prayer, or at least I know what's happening.
So happiness means for you that you can make other people happy. Yeah,
One of the
one of
aspects. Yeah,
the
like I said,
aspects.
traveling is there. Of course, there are so many things that make me happy, but yeah, that is,
Mhm.
I think, like being useful to others. Because there was a time that I often really questioned this thing a lot, that why did I have certain privileges while certain people don't? For example, I didn't choose
What
that this
kind
is the,
of privileges do you have?
as I told you, like I never had any financial strains on me. I don't come from a super rich family, but at least there was no time that we were without food or without shelter. And I know there are so many people who are not even sure if they will have a second meal or if they will have a meal tomorrow or not.
In
And
Pakistan?
not only in Pakistan, it's in Africa and a lot of Asian countries. And I think it's one of the reasons that probably a lot of people in Europe don't understand, because they had the privilege and they had never seen it. I mean, in Europe, at least I have never seen a kid begging on the road. I have seen like maybe drunk people or drug addicts asking for money for drugs, but I have never
Homeless?
seen homeless kids. But I have seen like those kids in Pakistan, and that's why I feel like it's my privilege to be born in a family with financial security. Secondly, I feel like I'm probably the biggest privilege I have is my family. I know it's that here there are a lot of kids with like broken families, I would say, um, who don't have a home to go back to, which is, I think, in the time of despair, it's really important. Like right now, when I was here and I had this discussion with you, like I didn't know where I will go. I don't know if I will get a job or not. But again, I'm not distressed about it because I know that I have a home, I have a family who would be happy to welcome me anytime they want. And also, again, they are family who supported all my dreams, even though they were kind of heretic in our society, like a solo girl traveling. I left home, I wasn't even 18 or like around 18 when I first went to Turkey for higher education. And my family was really supportive. They're supportive that now I'm in Estonia and everything. So that's like an other really huge privilege, that I know that there are always people, even if the whole world turns my enemy, even if I lose my friends or anything, I know that there are some people at my back. So again, that is a huge privilege for me. That education or me being able to travel. I know that our passport is really shitty. It's like the second or third worst passport in the world, and I always have to go apply to the embassies, and my passport stays with them for months, and it's always, like a chaos. But again, I know that a lot of people don't even have that choice to even apply to an embassy. There are people who are in war zones who can't go anywhere, or people who probably don't even have the resources. So at least I had a choice to travel, and for example, now I have a choice if I want to stay in Estonia or go back, in a way. So a lot of people never even get that choice. It's again a privilege. And that's why I used to think about it a lot, like, what did I do to deserve all this? And the only answer that I've found so far is that because I told you, like, I do believe in some sort of divine in the world, some sort of power. Like, people can call it God or whatever, but I would let me just use the word divine for now. And I believe that why I have all these privileges is because probably the divine had certain expectations from me. He or she or it thought that I would share it with others, and that's why it gave me more of this. So that's why.
Divine.
Yeah. Divine or earth or world, as I said, like, I don't know what it is.
Universe.
Universe, you can call it whatever you want, but there is something there. Again, it's my personal belief, and I don't want to impose it on others, but of course, it's important in my life. Yeah.
Your personal belief. So
Yeah.
we will talk about your personal beliefs and how to be a good person in next video. And what would you like to say about happiness at the end of this conversation? Finally, happiness, is it an essential part of our life? Yeah, is it? Um, how can we achieve
Hmm.
happiness?
I mean, people can definitely survive without happiness, but it's not, you cannot live without happiness. I would say you can survive. There are a lot of people who lead unhappy lives, but yeah, my last note would be, as I said in the very beginning, happiness is relative, so just seek happiness, continue your pursuit of happiness until you reach there and try to share it with others.
Does it mean that you are funny, uh, full of enjoy life, smile a lot,
It's
or
one way to be.
laughter?
Yeah,
Yeah.
laughter, it's like probably it's one way to show that you're happy. I don't know, maybe some people eat more when they're happy, some people smile a lot, laugh a lot. But yeah, I think I personally, I really like people who smile. It just gives me like positive energy.
Yeah. Appearance, is it important? Appearance, how, how people look like and express their happiness, their feelings.
Appearance is not happy, but vibe is happy. You know, like the kind of energy that people give. Because appearance is not in your control anyway, but your vibes, how you radiate energy, that is important. And I think a lot of times, especially if you're a social person who has experience of dealing with different people, you can tell when someone is like giving a positive radiation and when someone is like dull or negative.
Isn't important to have as much contacts as possible to be happy?
No, of course not. In fact, I was reading this research that our brain actually, there is this cognitive ability of how many relationships, like good relationships, we can have. Like, knowing people doesn't really mean a bond. Like, I have more than 1,200 people, for example, on my Facebook. I don't know them all.
1200.
Yeah, maybe more. Like, as my friends, but I don't know a lot of them.
Did you share these videos with them?
No, I don't
Why
do
not?
personal PR.
Why not?
I don't like to kind of like, because it's my wall and I'm not really looking forward to it. It's not what I try to achieve from these videos. I don't want to like do, as I said, like personal PR from this.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So it's two different persons. Y-
Mm, no.
You are on Facebook and you are on YouTube channel.
But I think people can find it themselves if they are looking for these topics. They can find it. Like I told you, I had this Turkish friend and she found my video like somewhere and she sent it to me. So if somebody's really interested to know
What
about
did
these
what
topics,
did what did she say?
she really liked it. She was like, I will like, wait for other videos.
So are you too humble to share these videos with your viewers, with your subscribers, with your Facebook friends?
As I said, like, for me, the purpose of these videos, like, is not doing any sort of PR. I do them because you ask, and
Mm.
I'm okay with sharing my thoughts. I'm not a shy person, but again, I'm not a person, and I don't want people to just talk about me all the time. Like that's not my goal. If somebody finds your video and they watch it and they appreciate it, I'm more than happy. But yeah, my goal is not to, promote myself in the world. Yeah.
What is your goal?
I don't like to talk about my goals in public. I feel like I like to keep them secret. Once I
Maybe
achieve a
your
milestone, I do tell people, like, this was my goal and I achieved it, but I don't like to discuss about them before achieving them.
maybe your goal is to be happy.
I am happy. I am really happy. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.